not just a safety car start, but more safety car periods, then the time may well kick in.
I reckon it's an awful lot drier now. It's 1 hour since we got our first race of the day underway here in Macau. Local time, 9:05, and the race is about to get underway. The safety car heads the field, and off the line goes Sean Tong and Lo Si Ho on the front row of the grid. The race is now underway.
So Sean Tong leads the field away, and everybody else then now in grid order should slot in behind the safety car on that run down towards the fast left of Reservoir, speed building towards Mandarin, all the way, of course, down towards Lisboa. TCR engines and that raucous sound in the background, accelerating off the line. And there is Kelvin Wong aboard car number 8. The rest of the field making their way off the grid. And I think everybody is safely away, apart from those two gaps I was saying. We've got no Nkin Weng nor Lim Chin Pang. So a very compressed timetable for this first weekend. It's purely Saturday and Sunday, whereas Grand Prix weekend next week, 4 days. There's a little bit more time within that to rebuild cars, but we were saying all day yesterday, this is not the day to be a hero and put it in the wall, and yet so many people did, and of course many of them bitten because they can't race now.
So look what they're doing. They've got a dry line here. They can weave the car, they can get a bit of heat into the tyres, but look, if you go offline, big puddles, and that's such a 0 to 100 in a very short space of time. We've got this, so 2 lanes of the 4-lane dual carriageway are essentially dryish. They look to be pretty dry, but on the outside, get offline and you're in a proper big puddle. That's on the run down towards Lisboa, and that's one of the, if not the overtaking point on the circuit.
It is, and of course, just to touch on it, you'll see it in a moment when they get there, but the Melco hairpin, the very tight hairpin, which is one of those iconic images of Macau with the high-rise in the background and the crane hanging over it. That's a no overtaking zone because it is just so tight. So 9 laps, all 35 minutes. This is lap 1, behind the safety car. Because of the changing conditions, Eduardo Freitas, the race director for the TCR Asia Challenge, like we had for F4, giving the drivers the chance to have a look at the circuit under control conditions. And the Lamborghini Urus safety car leads the field round there. Number 22 is the Lincoln Co. of Yan Chuang, the car entered by the team known purely as Fancy. And
we like that.
Although the livery is not that fancy, that car just did a very good job yesterday. A Lincoln Co. 03 TCR is the car given its full title, but did well.
Threading their way up through the tight and twisty section. So you see, we were just on a dual carriageway, 2 lanes going each way when these are normal roads of Macau, and now we are just very much on single carriageway, and the barriers get closer and closer. This is Donna Maria, the long left-hander, where generally we don't get incidents.
Generally. Now, just look at the way the field runs at the moment. You've got Sean Tong, Lo Si Ho, Yan Chuang, and then an absolutely enormous gap ahead of Chan Weng Tong in 4th place. And the race director has just put a message on the screen to tell the teams, to tell their drivers that the gaps must close. So now, look, the 4th place car speeding up. But where's 5th? Because
why would
that's
you need
a
to be
huge
told
gap.
that? What's happened?
Well, I think what's happening is that drivers are lagging back, so they can either explore the conditions at their leisure or are hoping to quicken their pace on their say-so, so they can go a little bit faster and get warmth into the tyres. But the whole purpose of being under the safety car like this is that the pace is controlled by the officials, not by individual drivers.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And, yeah, I didn't see that on the time screen, but yeah, it's huge, isn't it? A huge, great gap.
So I think it's now 27 of Lee Kar-Hay, who was the one that needs to quicken his pace. And the safety car's in this lap, right. So now Sean Tong slows the pace right down, ready to get things underway, but the stragglers need to crack on here, otherwise they actually shot themselves in the foot.
They're going to really miss out on this, aren't they?
Yeah.
4 cars for the leader of the race. So the safety car is in, 1 lap behind the safety car, and they have absolutely shot themselves in the foot.
And it is Lee Kar-Hay who has done that. That sort of serves him right, really, for messing about. And if he moans about it, you've only got yourself to blame. So we've got 2 races now. You've got the leading quartet, and then you've got the 5th place train. And it's Sean Tong then, as we go racing after just 1 lap behind the safety car ahead of Lo Si Ho. Down then through Mandarin they turn and accelerate down to Lisboa. Yan Chuang in 3rd place, and already, look, Sean Tong going for the wetter part of the road just to preserve those tyres.
It's dry in the middle, it's wet on either side, and yeah, with wet tyres on, they need to keep the temperature down on those tyres, and the only way to do that is to seek out the wet bits. They turn through the right-hander at Lisboa. So now we've got 3 races because we've got 2 for the lead, 2 for third place, and then this almighty gap. I tell you what, with that gap that we had before we got the rest of the field through, I'm not sure the rest of the field are going to be that happy about that, are they?
No, we've got 2 in the pits as well. Henry Lee Jr. has just come in, and Lee Car-Hay is being investigated for not respecting the start procedure as Lo Se-Ho tries to get up the inside of Sean Tong then. So it's game on for the race lead. The other one that's in the pits is Zhang Han Biao, and those 2 then at the end of the safety car lap in the pits, but for the race lead. Now Lo Se-Ho looking for a way around Sean Tong. That Hyundai has woken up this morning. It's quicker than the Honda. Now he's going to try to find the gap, and he's doing so in a really narrow part of the circuit. Whether Sean Tong is doing this deliberately, as we've got a car off up the escape road at Lisboa, that is 85 Cao Chia Hong. Whether Sean Tong here is slackening the pace off where he knows there's no way for Lo Se-Ho to overtake and then exploit the speed of the Honda on the wider part of the circuit, we'll find out. But right now, they're nose to tail for the lead.
This is a great battle, isn't it? And let's hope that that car was just down the escape road. You hear the tyres.
Oh.
There's, yes, oh dear. So Sean Tong ends up just hitting the barrier at Police, reverses up, heard the squeal of tyres and a little tap, and Lo Se-Ho is through.
The pressure applied then. Lo Se-Ho goes through into the lead of the race. He was crawling all over the back of him, and so now he's on his own as he comes into Macau hairpin. Lo Se-Ho right up against the barrier there as he discovers how much lock he didn't have. Yan Chuang in the Lincoln Co there is in second place. And Lo Se-Ho now storms clear. We were saying yesterday he deserves some good luck here. 2 years ago he was excluded post-race for a turbo boost pressure infringement. Last year he had a massive accident with a tap from Andy Yan, but here he comes then up now towards the end of lap number 2, and he's out on his own.
I was quite happy for that race to continue with those 2 because I thought that may well go the distance. What a shame that Sean Tong ends up coming off the worst of that close battle for the lead. We were worried yesterday about a little bit of smoke coming out the back of Lo Se-Ho's car. It's still doing it today.
Yeah, and don't worry, because clearly that pace is extraordinary. Now Sean Tong we need to keep an eye on in terms of his recovery, because he will be through eventually, but it's now Yan Chuang running in second place. Sean Tong has gone through in third,
right,
and he's going to be mighty vexed indeed. But what can he do to try to claw back now?
So he lost about 13 seconds on that sector.
Yeah, on that lap. So he's down in third place. We'll see now what he can do about this man, Yan Chuang. This is the wetter part of the circuit. Straight away, he goes for that damp part. Sean Tong, very experienced GT racer as well as touring car driver. He is on a mission. He's going to be absolutely seething and now hunting down, and he's quicker than the 2 ahead of him. No question. He's reeling in Yan Chuang, but he's also faster than Lo Se-Ho.
This is going to be fascinating to watch, David, isn't it? Absolutely. Neat and tidy through Lisboa, up towards San Francisco, up San Francisco Hill, and make no mistake about that. So as soon as he got back on the circuit, he then put in the fastest lap or fastest sector of anybody in the recovery. So this is going to be fascinating to watch. Lo Se-Ho, a bit more smoke this time, you know.
It would not, of course, be unexpected that the safety car made another appearance because of just the nature of Macau, really. So that might be something else that Sean Tong can exploit if and when it comes. But right now, Lo Se-Ho is building up the lead. He was 7.7 seconds clear of Yan Chuang at the end of the opening lap, making his way then now on towards the mid part of the lap, heading down towards Police very shortly, which is where he got the lead a lap ago. And this is how it happened. Now, have a look. Was there contact, or did Sean Tong make a mistake? I thought he just locked up, and I still think he just locked up.
We heard the tyre squeal, didn't we?
I think Lo Se-Ho was close, but I don't think he nudged him off. I think that was Sean Tong cracking under the pressure.
And the good news is that there was just a little tap to the barrier there, so reverse gear selected. An awful lot of red mist now, I would imagine, is going to be powering Sean Tong for the remainder of this race. But the race is on, make absolutely no doubt about it. There's going to be a race for fastest sectors and fastest laps in the pursuit of, first of all, Yan Chuang, and then Lo Se-Ho.
Sean Tong, you could argue, just needs to get second, because that's going to put him on the front row for the main race later on in the day. That said, he's a racing driver, and he's a very cross one as well. But right now, Lo Se-Ho is responding. He is doing absolute best in sectors 3 and 4. He comes then now down to the end of lap number 3. So we had lap 1 behind the safety car. The second racing lap is about to be ticked off by Lo Se-ho on his wax, and he's still trying to keep those cool, make them go all the way to the end without needing a pit stop as he comes up towards the line now. And so the slightly smoky Hyundai over the timing line goes through once more, and Lo Se-ho's advantage we can confirm as soon as Yan Chuang comes through, and Chuang relative to Sean Tong, there is the margin. So the hustling Honda in third place, closing on the Lincoln Co. 10 seconds between the leaders, it's 3 seconds between second and third. So Sean Tong for second place, that should happen by the end.
I think it probably will, and it's great to see this battle. Look at that, seeking out the water. Oh. That takes it to another level. It's thrown the car all over the place for the second place car of Yang Chang.
Not only that, but it also makes the tyres perhaps less grippy coming into Mandarin, which is not what you need.
No, thank you. Mandarin is certainly, when you look on the television going into the corner, it looks like a kink, and then when you come out of the corner, you can see it's not. It's a turn. It's a corner.
Look, Chang is being reeled in by Thong, although Sean Tong makes a slight error going into this boa. A bit too deep into the corner. He was very nearly 2/10 quicker. Sorry, try again. Very nearly 2 seconds quicker in the first sector, but then compromised it by that little mistake under braking.
Yeah, it did, and I think seeking out the wet parts of the circuit for the Lincoln Co driver in second place, I think he's worked out not too wet though, because that really did throw the car off, didn't it? There are drive-through penalties now for quite a few of the cars. One of the cars is in 5th place, and we can catch up. That's the 27 car of La Car Hay. So that car is having a drive-through penalty, and I've now just briefly missed the other cars that are coming
one of
through.
Them was 93 Ryan Wong, and the other was 28 Geronimo Badaraco.
And they were being investigated for the start of the race.
It was for not keeping within 5 lengths of the car ahead. Remember, the race director said close up the gaps. They didn't, and we've had it in Formula 1, we've had it in other categories, so it's going to be a drive-through penalty for those 3 drivers, basically for just lagging back too far. They penalised themselves, but they've also penalised the drivers behind them.
This is some lap for Yang Chung, not only satisfied with going in a big, deep puddle and getting the car thrown around, he's thrown the car around the entirety of the circuit, isn't he? I wonder what that's doing as far as reflecting lap times is concerned. Well, personal best in the first 3 sectors, so absolutely flying is Yang Chung. Knows that Sean Tong is behind, and knows that there's a gap before he's got Lo Se-ho in the lead of the race that we haven't seen on screen for a little while. We do now. That's the race leader with a commanding gap, 10.3 seconds.
But he is getting away, isn't he now, from Sean Tong. Yan Chuang is pretty clear. Lo Se-ho in the meantime is looking ever so good up front as he comes up towards the exit of Fisherman's then. This is the very fast, if short, straight down towards our bend, which is another part of the circuit we've caught people out over the years. Caught them out yesterday as well. This morning in the F4 race, we had a car clattering into the guardrail there. Lo Se-ho really does flirt with drama, doesn't he? He's always right up against the barrier. He goes through. He has now put 4 of the 9 laps in the book dominant, whereas Yang Chuang to Sean Tong, for my money, that gap was going out again. It's come down between the top 2. It's down to 8.7. It has come down second to third from 3 to 2.7, and a drive-through penalty now also for 21 of Paul Poon for overtaking before the end of the safety car process.
And that's a real shame, because we were looking forward to Paul Poon making up for not taking part in Q2. He qualified for Q2. He crashed the car, didn't take part, so therefore started in 12th place. We were looking forward to the march up through the order, but that is now sadly not going to happen. You can never criticise Lo Se-ho for not absolutely pressing on, can you? The distance between himself and the exit guardrails is infinitesimal. He's just really pushing on now. The battle is back on for second place as Yang Chang continues to put in personal best sectors, and Sean Tong, meanwhile, on that last sector 1 on this lap, went to second quicker.
Okay. Lee Kar-hae, 27, was 5th. He's now served his drive-through, so that's going to promote Hugh Henk, number 95, Audi, into the top 5. Lo Se-ho could afford now just to back off the pace a little bit and bring it to the end.
I'm not sure he's going to.
Lo Se-ho's makeup, is it? Yan Chuang, though, doing a really good job here in the Lincoln Co. More of those you will see in the TCR China and the TCR gear race next week. And there is Sean Thomas winner by over a second. second in the first sector, but then he dropped about 0.4 in the second sector.
The fact you're here in the tyre squeal now on the effects mic around the top part of the circuit suggests that there is minimal water on that part of the circuit, because we are hearing it particularly from Sean Tong's car again and again now, so it is getting much drier. You can see now that has an impact for the remaining 4.5 laps of this race, because they're on wet tyres.
Sean Tong also proving just how brave he is within that first section. That car may not be perfect anyway, having been tweaked up against the barrier from earlier on.
You can see on the left-hand side at the front there.
Yeah, the splitters on the ground, isn't it?
It's just dragging a little.
But Sean Tong is still absolutely charging as best he can. We're currently working lap 5 out of the 9. Downhill they come once more. Yan Chuang hanging on to that second place. He's not yet under attack from Sean Tong, as the leader has just gone across the line. So Lo Se-ho completes then another lap. There is Yan Chuang going through, and the car in third place, Sean Tong, comes to our bend now in sector 3 of the lap. Tong was slower. In sector 4 he was slower, so very definitely it's the first third of the lap, first part going up towards Lisboa, where that Honda is quicker than the Lincoln Co.
But the gap was coming down. It still is. Fastest lap of the race for Yan Chuang, and then fastest lap of the race for Sean Tong. So they are very determined to try and bring down this gap between themselves and Lo Se-ho that leads the race. It is down to 7.7 seconds, and the fastest lap of the race, just 2.5 seconds behind second place, is Sean Tong with a 2:50.201.
Okay, so on lap 6 out of 9 down to Lisboa they go. Lo Se-ho still clear in the lead of the race now, as we're getting other absolute bests in sectors from the likes of Lee Kar-hae down in 6th place after his drive-through.
Getting drier and drier, isn't
Absolutely right. Lapri also now to take place. There's a battered Honda getting out of the way. There, number 42 goes through. That's in 4th place, Chan Wang-tong. He's rather lonely, got no playmates, but in 4th place, keeping out of trouble. And, of course, looking good for the main race later on in the day.
Lee Kar-hae, who is in 6th place, lost a place to Hugh Heng on that last lap, but did put in 2 overall best sectors on that last lap, so he's going well. And sectors 4 and 5 for Lee Kar-hae.
Yeah, he lost the places with the drive-through, didn't he? So that's another reason he's all fired up now, having had to serve that penalty. Hugh Heng 5th, Lee Kar-hae in 6th spot. Sean Tong, though, the fastest man on the circuit right now, as there is number 42. That's Chan Wang-tong. Then he's in 4th place, but you must be thinking, where is everybody?
Yes, I think you're probably right. Lo Se-ho leads after 5 laps of this qualification race for TCR Asia Challenge. If you are just tuning in anywhere around the world, local time 9:22. This is race 2 of race day here for the first weekend of the 70th Macau Grand Prix, and we know that people are listening in every corner of the world in the motorsport world, because everybody has eyes on this event. It is such a challenge for driver, and so far we have seen Lo Se-ho leading every lap of this race. 2:51.303 was his last lap, compared to Sean Tong's last lap, a 2:52.01, which is the fastest lap of the race. And the gap between first and second, Yan Chuang, who continues to put in personal best sectors on this lap, a couple of personal bests and an overall best in sector 3, 7.7 seconds behind at the end of lap number 5. This is a 9-lap race, and they've got a 9-lap race at the end of the day as well.
Absolutely right. Clock ticks on down then. 35 minutes allotted for these 2 races. The second one having a reverse grid, and that was semi-reverse grid. That's a stranded Honda. So that's 77 conceivably, which would be Ouyang Zhengwei. And with a car stranded on the track, hopefully it's near a crane. That lead gap to the eye is coming down markedly. It is. It's down to just under 5 seconds. Yan Chuang has done another fastest lap of the race, a 2:48, and the safety car is being deployed, and that's the last thing Lo Se-ho needed. He was being caught anyway, and so now on lap 7, safety car deployed. Just wonder, of course, though, how many racing laps are going to get in at the end. That said, right now the race will be neutralised, and all the gaps are going to come right down.
It's only an 8-lap race. The safety car is deployed. The gap comes down. You can see where the splitter on the left-hand front of Sean Tong's car is coming down. We're going to see what happened now to the 77 car, and it was a little bit of a moment with Sean Tong, wasn't it?
Yeah, Sean Tong was trying to lap him, and Ouyang Zhengwei was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he got turfed into the wall. So Sean Tong may have a case to answer there. That's going to be looked at.
Is that why Sean Tong's left side of the front splitter looked to be even closer to the ground then?
Very possibly, very possibly. But yeah, I mean, you could say that would be looked at for causing a collision. So we'll find out what the outcome of that is in due course. Lee Kar-hae, just before the safety car was deployed, did the fastest lap of the race. Nothing winds up a driver like being given a drive-through penalty, clearly.
That's not bad, is it? 2:47.548. That's a very quick lap in these drying conditions around the gear circuit here at Macau. That's the race leader, Lo Si-ho, who had a commanding gap. It was a reducing gap. Leader, please slow down. There's an accident. And that's the indication on the timing screen at the moment. The leader has to slow down.
But this is Lo Si-ho. He doesn't do slowing down, but he's going to have to, otherwise he'll be in hot water as well. I mean, yes, it is beholden on him to do this. The lights and flags are there, so Lo Si-ho has no excuse for not slowing down. Safety car procedure is you slow down, the flags are there, the lights are there. There's just no argument about it. So
never before have I seen that message on the timing screen.
No, but it's Macau.
Did it say please? It did, didn't it? It was polite. It was a polite
yes, it
request.
was. Leader, please slow down. Yes, if it's not too much trouble.
Would you be awfully good and just slow down a bit? So past the incident there at Marshall's post 21.6, indicating the stricken Honda. And Lo Si-ho, has he slowed down?
Well, what bothers me is that in Sector 4, which is where that incident might have been.
Oh, don't say this.
He's done a personal best sector. Either way, he's done a personal best sector under the safety car conditions, because although the safety car hasn't picked him up, you've seen for the lap, the boards and flags have been there. So Lo Si-ho with a personal best on this lap in the fourth sector, that's going to go down like a cup of cold sick with the officials. It really is.
He didn't need to do that.
No.
Why was he doing that?
I'll get back to you on that.
Right, yeah.
Because to me, you see the safety car boards and flags and you do the right thing, you slow right down.
Right.
And it's not like it was at the start of the lap, you know, that was after the message had come up on the screen.
Yeah. So no one is putting in personal best sectors because you wouldn't expect them to once the safety car has been deployed. Apart from the leader, who put in a personal best sector on Sector 4. He now has found the safety car, but no one else has, not yet.
No.
I think just in the background we saw the second and third place cars, Yan Trang and Sean Tong coming into view, but that's a bit perplexing.
I think this is going to go to the end under the safety car looking at this, because the gaps are huge. See, Yan Trang has sort of done the right thing. He slowed down because he saw the safety car boards and the yellow flags, whereas Lo Si-ho didn't. So now, to scoop up the whole field, it's going to take longer because the safety car's going to have to go even slower.
And we're on the penultimate lap anyway. So, well, there's always a story in Macau, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there is a story here. There are a few stories. One thing I was pleased about was that when Lo Si-ho got past Sean Tong, when we saw the replay, the fact we saw there wasn't contact between the two of them. It was, we think, Sean Tong just getting it a little bit wrong.
Sean Tong got a puncture. I think his left front's gone down. So he's had two incidents on that left front corner. And number 10 Honda, I think, has got a slow puncture. We need another look at it, but as it came past on that last shot, it looked lower.
I think you're right. And is that left front, did you say?
Yes.
Left front.
Yeah.
I said the splitter looked to be closer to the ground after that incident with the Honda. That would be good reason why it might be.
Right, let's have another look in a moment. But look, he's fallen away from Yan Trang in second place. And safety car through. There is notionally one more lap to run at the end of this. But the top two are together. And Sean Tong's car is, if it's circulating at all, no longer with them.
It almost looked as if it was grinding to a halt when we last saw it in screen. So, yeah, the safety car has picked up two of the field. There's always a story at Macau.
So the Lamborghini Urus leads Hyundai Lee's Lynk & Co. That's the top two. And this will give, potentially then, Chan Weng Tong third place. Now, of course, you can't overtake under the safety car, but if the car ahead of you stops with a punctured tyre, then you've got no alternative. Was it 2 years ago that we had punctures in the gear race for the Works Lincoln Co's, and we almost ended up with one pushing the other over the line?
Oh, yes.
Points.
Yeah, good memory. Yes, it was. Yeah. 2 years ago?
Yes. Now, Sean Tong's car is yet to be seen. That's part of the reason that it's got a puncture. The incident that's brought out the safety car involving him in the clash with the other Honda FK7 Civic of Ouyang Zhengwei. Let's have another look at it. So he goes to the inside. There was a gap, sort of, but it was a bold place to try and get through. But in the end, contact made.
Touring cars can be bold on this circuit, and we've seen particularly Rob Huff in the past squeezing his way through. I think he once said to me, after a weekend at Macau, if I haven't got a little scrape or two on the wing mirrors, no, actually, if I have got wing mirrors, I haven't been trying hard enough.
Well, the leaders go onto the last lap now, and so the race will finish behind the safety car. There is Sean Tong. There's the puncture.
Oh dear, oh dear. So yeah, it was sitting down a little bit more on the left-hand side. This is very, very bad news for Sean Tong. Of course, another race at the end of the day, same distance at the end of the day, but 9-lap race in prospect at the end of the afternoon, the penultimate race of the afternoon. But Sean Tong is hoping for better luck in race 2. He judged qualifying perfectly yesterday, but everything has not gone according to plan in race 2, and the war wounded is coming back to pit lane.
He's going to start 10th on the semi-reverse grid for later on in the day, but right now Sean Tong limps to the pit lane, and even if they put a new tyre on that car, then he will be in last place. And it doesn't affect the grid for later on, so whether we see the car again, I rather doubt. But it's going to be a win, effectively, for Lo Se Ho, subject to that message from the race director telling him to slow down. Whether any penalty may come for his zealotry before he caught the safety car,
I think they'll be looking at a couple of things
I think
at the end of this race, and we might...
Look, the fact that he had to be told to slow down is one thing. The fact that he did a personal best sector under a full course yellow, effectively, is another. The incident between Sean Tong and between Ouyang Zhengwei is under investigation, not surprisingly.
Yeah.
There's always a story in Macau.
there really is. And there'll probably be a story from the conversations with the officials at the end of this race as well. Race control can at least say, we did ask you very politely to slow down. We said, please.
Well, yes. But a waved yellow flag, which was all around the circuit, means slow down and prepare to stop.
This is the first time during this race that we've had all of the field bunched up together.
Yes.
The first time.
Well, I think there's quite a lot of lessons learned by drivers in terms of etiquette and processes in this that will be put into play for the main race later on. And don't forget, not only are we in this looking at, in a sense, progressing, but also from the second race, it is the top 8 finishers that will go into the World Tour round next week for the gear race.
Yeah, there's a big prize, isn't there, at the end of this race? Yeah, at the end of both races this weekend. So, Lo Se Ho, it is car number 1. They are on lap 8. It's a 9-lap race behind the control of the Lamborghini Urus safety car. Thread their way around the top part of the circuit through Donna Maria, the long left-hander. And then it gets really tight. Safety car in this lap, which presumably means they just will take the checkered flag after the safety car pulls into pit lane.
Yes, I would say so. It's, if you like, a ceremonial finish, isn't it? So the photographs don't have the safety car at the front. But I mean, there's always an argument in a situation like this as to whether you could have put the checkered flag out a lap ago, because the order wasn't going to change even by doing this extra lap. But the officials have elected to give the drivers the full distance, and still the Honda unmoved, so it was never going to get going. The cars will take the checkered flag without overtaking.
So very much a ceremonial finish.
As I say, So Lo Se-ho is the race winner, provisionally, ahead of Yan Chuang and Chan Wen-tong for third place. And why they're weaving to get the tyres up to temperature is a bit of a mystery, because they're only going to see a checkered flag. But anyway, racing drivers will be racing drivers, and Lo Se-ho will accelerate away. The checkered flag is shown and a green flag is shown simultaneously, but the race comes to an end then. So green flag to say the safety car is in. The checkered flag ends the first TCR Asia Challenge race with a win for Lo Se-ho. Yan Chuang takes second and Chan Wen-tong third, ahead of Hu Heng, ahead of Li Ka-hei, and then Chen Jiong for sixth place at the end of a spectacular TCR Asia race. And I think we got more laps in consecutively in that than anything else we've had hitherto this weekend.
We did, and I really enjoyed that race as well. It was entertaining, it was exciting, it had so many elements, and it's also got a smattering of controversy as well to maybe be thought about after the race has finished, which it does. And the winner, Lo Se-ho. With a couple of questions to answer, I reckon.
Yeah, and justifiable questions, really. Because when you've got marshals on the circuit attending to an incident, the last thing you want are cars going too quickly. Eduardo Freitas, the race director, was also race director, was it 2 years ago in Japan, when there was the recovery vehicle on track, and Daniel Kvyat made a pit stop and was going quickly, and that had rather been missed by race control. So Eduardo is even more attuned than ever to safety of people around the circuit and not having cars go quickly. So the Sean Tong story is a rather disappointing one, isn't it, to say the least?
Yeah, so a number of stories to tell the team at the end of that, and trying to read the body language, and I don't think it looks sort of overly upset, does it, really?
Well, no, I mean, in a sense, he's going to be 10th on the grid no matter where he finished in that race, because it's a standalone grid for race 2. It isn't a championship as such, so yes, he'd like the best result, but it's the second race that really matters, and the fact that he's going to have to do that from row 5, so be it.
It was certainly exciting, and that's kind of the body language that I got from him talking to the team after getting out the car down in pit lane. Okay, the car has got a bit of repair work to be done, but other than that, it was, what's the best way to describe this? An exciting race. That's our winner, Lo Se-ho, and still weaving the car on the slow down lap, which is an interesting point that shows us how dry it is on the top part of the circuit now on wet tyres.
The sun's breaking through as well, so the temperature is going up a little bit here, and after a very wet start to the day, a lot of rain overnight, then it's starting to become a little bit more like the
dry,
sunny Macau that we expected.
At the Macau hairpin, it's fully dry. See the bus stop on the left-hand side, that's gives you an idea of what happens between 6 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning. These are normal roads at Macau. Buses, trucks, mopeds, cars, everything. These are normal roads, and for 12 hours a day we get to enjoy the gear circuit as one of the most testing motor racing circuits anywhere on the planet.
And it's been a scene of dramatic Formula 3 Grand Prix over the years, of World Touring Car Championship showdowns. How many times has a Rob Huff or an Andy Priaulx left here, not only clutching silverware, but also a championship as well?
Yep, 2012, Rob Huff claimed his world title and did it in fine style here at Macau. And as the drivers make their way now down into pit lane, we will begin the countdown to our second podium of the day, which will see Lo Se-ho, Yan Chuang and Chan Wen-tong on the third step of the podium.
Lo Se-ho last year, one of the front runners in TCR China, and the car going into the scrutineering area. The team delighted, rush across, say well done. But I'm waiting for something to come up on the timing screen to say that he's under investigation, because that speeding before he got to the safety car still slightly bothers me.
Yeah, we've not had that yet, have we?
No.
So it might be. But, race control were happy with a reason. Sometimes you can get a reason, can't you, for I have to be doing this, but it's I'd love to know what the reason would be.
Well, Lo Se-ho, the Hyundai driver, out of the car. Hyundai is certainly one of the more recent brands to really capitalise on its involvement in motorsport, whether it's been in touring car racing or world rallying, in a sense a bit like Subaru did a while ago. It's completely transformed the brand. Second place, Yan Trang in the Link & Co. Don't see that many of those around, but it's another growing brand, part of the Geely Group. And then the third place Audi, Chan Wen Tong, comes to Parc Fermé as well. The Macau driver clambers from the car.
Thank you.
Thumbs up, happy man.
Of course, a Macau driver on the podium at Macau is something for the family album, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And Yan Trang was really pushing on as well, wasn't he? With, bringing down the gap between himself and Lo Se-ho before the safety car was deployed at the end of the race. The obligatory weighing of the drivers with all of their race equipment on. That was our first race of the day for the TCR Asia Challenge. The win goes the way of Lo Se-ho. Safety car intervened at the end of the race. Yan Trang in car number 22 in second place, and Chan Wen Tong, after the retirement of Sean Tong at the end of the race, takes third place. So we will see the Macau flag on the podium, and the podium is coming up next.
Yes, the gaps between the winning cars somewhat reduced at the very end, given that we had that safety car at the end. But there is Lo Se-ho making his way to the podium with a bouquet of flowers and the water bottle. But I wouldn't be surprised if race control didn't want a word after all of that. That's Yan Trang, the Link & Co driver. He's done a really good job in that race, and that's a car that's just got better and better over the weekend. It didn't start off necessarily as one of the quickest in free practice, but it got better and better over the two parts of qualifying, and second place in the race. He did at one point have the fastest lap as well, didn't he?
He's driving really well, wasn't he? Really speedy.
Yeah.
The other one that I'm sort of slightly disappointed we didn't see the final couple of laps was Lee Kar-hae, because he was putting in some jolly good lap times, wasn't he? Before the safety car was deployed. Ended up in 5th place in car number 27, did Lee Kar-hae. And we stand by now for the podium for our first of 2 races today for TCR Asia Challenge. That's what's coming up next. And with the recovery of the Honda, which gave cause for the safety car to be deployed, just an inspection of the barriers as well. They need to be fully up to spec, and they'll just be dressing a bit of fluid down there as well. So, every one of our races today has a good deal of wiggle room built in between the end of one race and the start of the other. So, hopefully, it does mean that we'll hear from the drivers in the press conference. It does mean we can hear and see the podium presentation as well, and we'll get a chance to get the circuit back in full racing order before we get our next race of the day underway, which is the Macau Road Sport Challenge, with a bit of a new look for this year, for 2023, and the 70th Macau Grand Prix celebrations in 2023. That is due to get underway at 10:20, and the local time here in Macau is just after 9:43 in the morning, so just coming up to 9:45 locally, and different conditions. It's a little bit windy. The wind is due to grow as the day goes on. Sunny is the forecast for this afternoon, and we have seen the sun trying to peek through this morning after a very, very wet start for the Formula 4 cars earlier on this morning at 8 o'clock.
Well, barriers being attended to, as you say, track surface being attended to, the road getting drier all the time, and the touring cars heading back to their paddock ready for a bit of repair work before the second race in TCR Asia Challenge later on in the day. The podium awaits then. The dignitaries will be brought forward, and then the winning drivers, once the ceremony is done, then interviews in English will be conducted on the podium as well. And we await then the podium ceremony to get underway. But Lo Se-ho, Yan Trang and Chan Wen Tong, the top 3 drivers. Hong Kong, China and Macau represented within the top 3. And on race day here on the gear circuit, touring car racing as ever is spectacular. And the touring car gear race, which is next week, has another long history, echoing the rules of the day, whether it was the Group A cars in the 1980s or the Super 2000 World Touring Car spec or TCR regulations more recently. The gear race, the touring car inclusion has always been a major part of Macau, and it's represented with 2 races, of course, this weekend as well. 2 weekends of racing, as it is an anniversary year. 70 years we celebrate this year of the Macau Grand Prix. So the winning drivers brought from the back of the pit lane round to the race control building and then to the podium, and the doors open, so there'll be dignitaries at one side. The trophy girls come forward as well, and that means that the podium ceremony for race 1 in TCR Asia Challenge is just about ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 70th Macau Grand Prix TCR Asia Challenge Race 1 trophy presentation ceremony. First of all, let's welcome the top 3 finishers to the podium. At second runner-up, number 42, Chang Wang-tong from Macau, China. First runner-up, number 22, Yan Chuang from China. And the winner is number 1, Lo Si-ho from Hong Kong, China. Congratulations to the drivers. And now I would like to invite the guests to present the laurel and trophy to the top 3 finishers. Let's welcome Mr. Frederick Luvisuto, Chief Operating Officer and Executive Director of Win Macau Limited, to present the 3rd place laurel and trophy to the driver. Congratulations to Chang Wang-tong from Macau, China. Thank you. And up next, I would like to invite Ms. Linda Chan, President and Vice Chairman of the Board of Win Macau Limited, to present the first runner-up to Yan Chuang from China. Congratulations. Thank you, Ms. Chan. Last but not the least, let's welcome Mr. Pon Wang-kun, President of the Sports Bureau and Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organizing Committee, to present the winner laurel and trophy to Lo Si-ho from Hong Kong, China. Congratulations. I would like to invite all the guests together at the center and our drivers to reach the top of the podium for a group picture. Congratulations once again to the top 3 finishers of TCR Asia Challenge Race 1. Thank you our guests. Thank you very much. Congratulations once again.
Motorsport Challenge, a prova que é então este ano disputada por dois modelos automóvel, os Toyota GR86 e os Subaru